Americans for Fair Taxation presents the Weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, president of Americans for Fair Taxation, and recorded by Bob Paxton, a volunteer with the Florida FAIRtax Educational Association. And now, this week's Chairman's Report.
Hello, I'm Bob Paxton with the AFFT Chairman's Report for Friday, March 28th, 2025. This week's Chairman's Report is written by Jade Walle, a practicing CPA who has been on the Americans for Fair Taxation Board of Directors. The Fair Tax. Senior citizens love it. Our U.S. baby boomer generation was born between 1946 and 1964. For our mathematically inclined readers, that means that in 2008, baby boomers began reaching age 62, which is the earliest Social Security retirement age. For the foreseeable future, we're going to have quite a number of retirees and Social Security recipients in our great land. Now, a logical question naturally arises, which is, how do senior citizens fare under our current income tax system compared to the fair tax? While everyone's situation is unique, it's important to explore how the income tax has been treating our seniors and understand the multiple facets and changes that the fair tax would usher in. In the mid-1980s, U.S. tax laws changed to allow up to 85% of Social Security benefits to be taxed again. With the fair tax, our senior citizens will never pay income tax on their Social Security benefits. In fact, no American will pay income tax on any of their income whatsoever. Now, grandparents often love to give gifts to their grandchildren or bequeath their estates to their children when they pass. Currently, the IRS levies a hefty estate tax, also called the death tax, on estates that often force heirs to sell the inheritance itself in order to deal with the crushing tax burden. In other words, sell the farm to pay the death tax. Beginning in 2026, the estate tax threshold is only $6 million. And with inflation over the past 3 or 4 years, $6 million sure ain't what it used to be. Under the fair tax, our senior citizens can sleep easy. There are no more estate or gift taxes. With the fair tax, you can contribute a hefty sum to your grandchild's college savings fund tax-free. Now think of how things are under the income tax. Complex tax planning, estates, stepped-up basis upon death, trusts, etc. Are these trusts revocable or irrevocable? Does your brain hurt yet? With the fair tax, our U.S. senior citizens will never, ever have to file a federal income tax return again. No more shoeboxes full of receipts or worrying that you're annoying your middle-aged son or daughter by asking them to help you with your tax return. Now, many unscrupulous tax preparers target and abuse our senior citizens who are truly our national treasures. No more abuse under the fair tax. Now, if you're worried about Social Security, wanting to know if it'll still be there during your golden years, the fair tax actually helps that as well. The fair tax automatically funds Social Security and Medicare by statute. And also, by taxing consumption rather than income, the fair tax extends the tax base for Social Security from just those working for a paycheck to everyone who buys things. This puts it on a much firmer financial footing. Stay with the income tax, and you'll continue to have to put up with an endless array of loopholes, credits, deductions, exemptions, and exclusions, not to mention over $1 trillion in annual illegal tax evasion where taxes are owed but not collected. Now, many Social Security recipients live on a fixed income. The fair tax prebate allows seniors to purchase what they need to live completely tax-free, and any purchase of used goods completely tax-free as well. Often, retirees may have qualified or tax-deferred accounts such as an IRA or 401k. These plans were paid with pre-tax dollars and upon withdrawal are currently taxed as incomes. Now, seniors must also deal with a labyrinth of laws around the required minimum distribution from these plans, which can be dizzying. The fair tax delivers a complete tax holiday to seniors on their pre-tax retirement plans. Let's say you have $850,000 in your 401k and you were expecting to pay income tax as you withdrew it over time. Not anymore, not with the fair tax. You'll pay the fair tax when you consume, but effective tax rates for seniors are usually extremely low, if not negative, thanks to the prebate. Now, seniors who have lived in their homes for many years often wish to sell those homes that have appreciated in value substantially over time, especially in recent decades. The FAIRtax allows seniors to sell their homes completely free of capital gains taxes. This is a real concern in high-cost areas like New York and California, where a senior's home sale gain can easily exceed the $250,000 for singles or the $500,000 married filing jointly thresholds for capital gains. No more worrying under the FAIRtax. As a country, we owe it to our parents and grandparents to treat them with respect and dignity. The income tax requires our senior citizens to deal with income tax returns, IRS instructions, a jungle of complex forms, and IRS audits. It also requires them to endure the double and triple taxation of their Social Security benefits, death taxes, gift taxes, capital gains taxes, and the overall burden of a myriad of IRS rules on their retirement accounts, including but not limited to the required minimum distributions. Don't we owe it to our seniors to provide them with a less burdensome retirement, a retirement free of the IRS and the punitive and narrow income tax? Don't we owe our senior citizens a simpler and more elegant system of taxation? Now, many seniors will be familiar with Perry Mason, and it's fitting to end with a line that he would often use: "I rest my case." In conclusion, one of the things that a real change to our tax system must address is how it affects the various elements of our society. Jade has done an excellent job demonstrating that the FAIRtax will be beneficial to seniors. Now, of course, many of the reasons for seniors to support the FAIRtax are reasons for the rest of America to support the FAIRtax as well. It helps everyone. Now, many of you have labored tirelessly for freedom from the federal income tax and the IRS. You deserve a great deal of credit for your efforts to educate the American people on the need to fund the American government in a way that's good for America and returns freedom to the American people. It's imperative, though, that we not replace the current income tax and the IRS with an alternative system that can still be manipulated by the ruling elites. We must let Congress and the President know that the best way to replace the income tax and the IRS is with the FAIRtax. Now, make no mistake about it. The FAIRtax is a grave threat to the ruling elites. It will strip them of their power and their ability to control us through the tax system. Their opposition to the FAIRtax will be fierce and unrelenting. And don't think for an instant they won't use half-truths, deception, and downright lies in their desperate attempt to hang on to their power. However, with the support of this president, we can finally eliminate the income tax and the IRS. Now, of course, the best course of action is not only to repeal the income tax and abolish the IRS, but also to repeal the 16th Amendment as well, so that no future administration can ever shackle the American people with an income tax again. We must come together and ensure that real tax reform, the FAIRtax, is not subverted by the elites in D.C. This will take the diligent efforts of all of us. We need your financial assistance. We need your grassroots assistance. Now, if you have contacts that will allow us to get more information about the FAIRtax to President Trump, please let us know. Also, please email us at info@fairtax.org, and we'll give you some options on how you can best help us. At a minimum, please call your congressional representative and ask if he or she supports the FAIRtax. If so, thank him or her for their support and suggest they become a co-sponsor of H.R. 25 if they're not one already. If not, ask why not. Now, if your representative claims to be unfamiliar with the FAIRtax, offer to have someone come to their office and explain it to them. The solution: pass the FAIRtax. Now, why would D.C. pass the FAIRtax and give up an almost unlimited source of donations? Well, they won't, at least not voluntarily. The only way they will is if the rest of us demand it. Isn't it time to end this ludicrous tax collection system and the IRS along with it? Help bring about real tax reform and stop future IRS abuses. By contributing or investing $10.40 a month, you help provide a financial base to Americans for fair taxation. Now, if you can make larger contributions/investments, these will be used not for salaries, as we're all volunteers, but for the needed updates to our economic studies, which will be vital for all future years. Please go to FAIRtax.org to invest in AFFT and help us pass the FAIRtax. It's an investment in your and your family's future.
This has been the Weekly Chairman's Report, written by Steve Hayes, President of Americans for Fair Taxation. Check back every week for news and information about the fair tax, and learn why the fair tax should replace our antiquated federal income tax system. If you'd like to receive a copy of the Chairman's Report in your inbox every week, sign up at FAIRtax.org.